Legacy Maker, the All Sports Network.
Welcome to the one-on-one. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the proof. Welcome to the one-on-one. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the proof. Welcome to one-on-one at Legacy Maker Sports Network.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? How's everybody doing? We are getting ready for another edition of One-on-One here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network, the Quick Ones editions. You know, we've been rocking these quick ones out with the Power Rankings here over the first 8 weeks of the NFL season. And ladies and gentlemen, we are here at week 9. And boy, has this thing kind of just crept up on us midway through the season. Great football pretty much every week. We've had some exciting games every week. It's just been a great time to be a NFL fan. So a lot to take in this past week. Some big injuries. Probably the biggest one, the one that's hurt my heart the most, especially on the fantasy front, losing Derrick Henry. Oh, my goodness. Derrick Henry is out for the rest of the season. They did sign AP, and I was just like, wow, you know, I had AP on my team, but I let him loose. That's my fault. That's my fault. But, yeah, Derrick Henry is gone for the season, and that is probably the big one. The one that's going to hurt a lot of people on the fantasy front. Just the Titans in general, they're the number one team right now heading into week 9 in the AFC. If the playoffs started today, they would be the number one seed. Another big loss, of course, is Jameis Winston. You know, despite the victory over the Buccaneers, that loss of Jameis Winston is still going to hurt them a little bit. You know, even though Trevor Siemian came in and did some good things, it's still going to hurt that team just a little bit. So, yeah, I mean, very interesting week 8, but we hit week 9. Tonight, we got the Jets and the Colts. The Colts, who hung tough with the Titans last week, just couldn't pull that bad boy off in the end. But the Colts are still a really good team, in my opinion. Their record doesn't show how good that team could be at 3-5, and Wentz has played had a pretty good season so far. Also, the Jets, man, Mike White came out there balling as they beat the Cincinnati Bengals, who were the number one team in the AFC entering last week. So that has all changed here in the last week. But now we get ready for that game tonight, Colts and Jets from Indianapolis. It should be an interesting one. If the Jets win this one, man, boy, oh boy, wouldn't that be something special? But I don't know. Jonathan Taylor is going to be tough. He'll probably more likely at this point be the leading rusher as the season goes on in the league. But that is also something else we will have to see. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and get the power rankings started. And you know how we always start the power rankings. We start off with the bottom. All right, so here we are, the bottom of our power rankings, those bottom 12 teams in the NFL at the current time. First, you got the Detroit Lions at 0-8. Detroit disappointed me this week. I picked Detroit in my pick'em, and I thought, oh, well, you know, it won't be no big deal. You know, we'll be fine, and, you know, there's nothing to stress about, and, you know. But no, I was wrong. Detroit goes out there and they lose miserably to the Philadelphia Eagles. A much needed win for Philadelphia, in my opinion. They've had a rough couple of weeks here and there. They've gotten some wins. They played tough in some matchups, but they, just weren't able to pull it off in certain aspects. But I like what I see now, and I mean, they still got a long ways to go. But big win for Philadelphia, winning that one 44-6 over Detroit. Detroit's 0-8. They're at number 32. Man, I want Dan Campbell to keep his job after the season, but man, I don't know, man. They better find a way to win quick. Number 31, the Houston Texans, losers of 7 straight. Tyrod Taylor could be, eventually making his way back, but this team just looks like they're in shambles, and it's hard to watch at times. So, the Texans, boy, that's all I really can say about that. Number 30, the Dolphins. The Dolphins are 1-7 on the season. And, they've just had a tough break. The Dolphins were one team I really, truly thought that they would be, be in the mix. I thought they would be in the playoffs. I thought they would finish second in that division. And it does not look like that's going to happen at all. And it's very disappointing, especially for those Dolphins fans out there that had high expectations this year. So they're 1-7, and it's just been rough for them. Next, number 29, the Jacksonville Jaguars, another team that I thought, maybe they'll ride the momentum of a victory, and they did not. They lost to Seattle, hands down. And it wasn't cute. Seattle was able to handle that one 31-7. The Jaguars are still young, just don't have enough pieces around Trevor Lawrence. I don't know what, Tony Khan's got to do to make that thing happen, but he's got to get him some good pieces to go around. He needs an offensive line. Go build that man an offensive line. You got to, I know when you're thinking the draft this year, you're thinking about go get that man an offensive line so he can stand up straight. Because I felt so bad for him in that contest against Seattle. And Seattle doesn't have the greatest defense in the world, and he still was getting destroyed. Next one, the New York Football Giants coming off of a very physical, tough Monday night game against the Kansas City Chiefs, but they weren't able to pull that one off, losing that one 20-17. And a lot of Giants fans thought they were this close to making the dream happen, but the Giants are now 2-6 on the season. At 27, the New York Football Jets. I tell you what, man, the Jets went out there and shocked the world, beating Cincinnati 34-31. And Mike White, man, it comes out there and balls out, and that offense looks smooth. That's got to be good for Jets fans, knowing that you got a guy who can come in and be the backup when Zach Wilson is not, healthy as he is right now. Just a great job overall by Mike White and the New York Football Jets there at 27. At 26, you got the Washington football team. Man, I tell you what, if they didn't have 2 wins, they probably would be, if not 30 on my list, it would be, maybe the worst, but this team just, I don't know. Watching this game really aggravated me because they had 2 opportunities at the end to either tie the game, they missed. They got 2 field goals blocked in this contest with their new field goal kicker. I know his confidence level has got to be shot right now. I feel bad for the young man, especially under those circumstances. But in that game against Denver, the score was 17-10. They had the ball with like less than a minute left, or a minute of maybe like less than 2 minutes left. Had an opportunity to score a turnover on downs. Then Denver gets the ball, fumbles twice. Washington gets the ball back in phenomenal field position. And once again, Scott Turner's offense just can't find a way to get points when they're within striking distance. I do not understand what's going on there, but that's got to be fixed, especially if you're a Washington football team fan. You've got to hate what you see going on with your offense. They can start off at the 20-yard line in their territory, get all the way down to the 30. They get in field goal range, but it feels like they can never punch it in. It's crazy. Washington's got to fix that. At 25, the Chicago Bears. Justin Fields had a really good week. Justin Fields came in there, did his thing last week against San Francisco, had some really good moments, had a really amazing play where he was scrambling around. For sure looked like he was going to be stopped way back, maybe like a 10 yards deep, and he made some miraculous play to score a touchdown to get that game tied up late. But it was just a little too much of Jimmy G, who had 2 rushing touchdowns in that contest. 49ers ended up winning that one 33-22, but the Bears are 25 on our count there at 3-5. The Falcons come in at 24 at 3-4. A game I thought the Falcons could win. I thought they were coming off some good momentum. And a Panthers team who was on the downside, losing 3 straight. I thought, oh man, this has got to be a good chance for the Falcons to really make some, leeway in the division. And what do? They go out there and stink that bad boy up. And, I know they had some issues with Calvin Ridley, where Calvin Ridley has decided to step away from football because of mental health issues. So Calvin, hope everything's okay, brother. Hope that, you get whatever help you need to get yourself back to where you need to be. People don't realize mental health is a huge thing, and people make fun of it and, oh, whatever. But people make fun of something like that. And it's a real thing. It's a real thing. So our prayers out to Calvin Ridley and, and his family. So hopefully he can get where he needs to be. We're praying for you, Calvin. Next one at 23, the Eagles. We talked about how they beat up on the Lions 44-6. The Eagles are 3-5 heading into week 9. And we got them at number 23. 22, the Seahawks. Much needed victory against the Jaguars. They got a couple more weeks potentially before they get Russell Wilson back. They're targeting the Green Bay game, which, doesn't make me smile, but that is what it is. So we'll see if Russell gets back there. But Geno has played pretty decent football. I mean, it hasn't been stellar, but he's did a really good job as a backup, in my opinion, for this team. He's had them in every game. They've had chances to win the Steelers game. They should have won. Who did they play a couple of weeks ago, y'all? Oh, man, my mind went blank. The Saints. They had the Saints last week, the Steelers the week before. Then 2 games that they lost by 3 points where they could have won. And it just didn't happen. Just didn't happen. Number 21, the Minnesota Vikings are at 3-4. Second place in the NFC North at 3-4. The Packers have themselves a really decent lead right now. They got a 3-game lead over everybody in that division. That division is struggling and trying to get themselves together as Aaron Rodgers and the Packers continue to thrive. And here's the crazy thing. They've only played 2 division they've only played the Vikings and the Bears. They still got a whole bunch of division games to play. They haven't even played those games yet. So we'll see how things go there. There it is, ladies and gentlemen, the bottom heading into week 9. So heading into week 9, our bottom, it's starting to get to a point in the season where it gets a little grim when you start to say, well, maybe things are not going to work out for these teams during this season. Looking at some of these teams, and then we'll go back real quick. The only team to me that I think has a chance to maybe still make some noise in their division, and it's a slight chance, maybe the Eagles, but the Giants, not the Giants, but the Dallas Cowboys are playing really good football right now. So right now, if you're the bottom, it's a really rough go. Next, we hit you up with the outside looking in. And the outside looking in this week, the San Francisco 49ers are 3-4, coming off their victory from the Bears. The Indianapolis Colts are 3-5 after a very tough loss to the Tennessee Titans. And, like I said before, Carson Wentz continues to look good this season. They're still trying to work some things out there in Indianapolis, but I still think they're a better team than what their record shows. At 18, the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City, all of their big wins have come against the NFC East this year. So, they've got a couple other wins in there, but it hasn't been pretty. So they're still trying to get things straight. They picked up Melvin Gordon the other day via the trades to see if, he brings some help to that linebacker core. But for me, the Chiefs, it's just been that type of year for them. We're going to see if Pat Mahomes can kind of get himself back on the right track. But teams have caught up to that Kansas City Chiefs team. At 17, the Carolina Panthers are 4-4. Much needed win for Carolina. Had lost 4 straight, and they were able to bounce back and get back on the right track with a win against Atlanta. Now, they did lose Sam Darnold in that contest, so we don't know who will start just yet this week for the Panthers. The number 16 team, the Denver Broncos, also in the same path that the Panthers were at. And were 3-4, lost 4 straight, able to get a dub against Washington. And, they traded Von Miller this week. Wow. They traded Von Miller this week. Very tough one for Denver. And I hate to see that happen. But, I think, sometimes things change. But, man, that Rams defense, man, it just keeps getting scarier and scarier. So those outside looking in, 49ers at 20, Colts at 19, Chiefs at 18, Panthers at 17, and Broncos at 16. Yeah, so the outside looking in, had 3 teams staying in that mix, 2 new teams in that mix. But now we're going to hit this top 15, and there's a team that slowly but surely crept their way into the top 15. We'll talk about them in a second. First, let's talk about number 15 team, the Los Angeles Chargers. They're 4-3, a very disappointing loss to the New England Patriots, who are our number 14 team on the countdown, this week. So, this Chargers team has come in here and a lot of expectations for the Chargers, but the last 2 games have been really rough. They've lost, they lost to the Ravens and an ugly one, and then they lose this one to New England, and you start to think, man, what's going on with the Chargers, especially when people were like, oh, they're winning the division, they're looking smooth, they beat up on the Raiders, who are now the division leaders in the AFC West. No one saw that one coming, so maybe they'll figure it out here or there, but the Chargers are at 15. At 14, the New England Patriots. I mean, they're 4-4, but they have played tough football this year. And I will continue to say this, and I have to keep saying this. Mac Jones looks good. I'm not saying he's killing the league, but he looks calm, he looks poised, and he looks like he is just the right guy to lead New England over the next 10 to 15 years. He's got a good young receiving core, a lot of no-name guys in a lot of people's eyes. But, I mean, I like what I see. Damian Harris is having a really good year on the ground. Hunter Henry's starting to come around. I start to look at all this stuff, and I mean, New England's just a solid team. And don't be surprised if they sneak into the playoffs. That's all I got to say. Number 13, the Cleveland Browns, a team that is on the shambles at times. Like, I mean, they're 4-4, but good God, you would think they would be in a better position. Yes, injuries do have a lot to do with their record, but they just look off sometimes. And sometimes they look like they can be a really good team, and then sometimes they look like they can be a really bad team. So this Cleveland Browns team is just like, it's a mixed bag. We don't know what we're getting from the Cleveland Browns. Next, at number 12, the Pittsburgh Steelers, sitting in at 4-3. Pittsburgh is continuing to get themselves a little bit back on the right track. We're going to see what they do this week. They're coming off of a bye, and this week Pittsburgh will be taking on the Browns. Oh, excuse me, I take that back. I'll take that back. Not coming off of the bye. They played the Browns last week, beat the Browns, so they put them back over 500. And this week they take on a Chicago Bears team. Was another chance for them to grow and get to that 5-3 spot and get themselves in the right position. So we'll see what Pittsburgh can do, but they are number 12 on the countdown. Number 11 on the countdown, the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, Cincinnati, probably the biggest disappointment last week. Everybody, that's a gimme game for most people when you look at that. Now, the NFL, obviously, these guys are all professionals, so you can't just, that's an easy one, you got it. But in most people's eyes, this should have been a no-brainer for Cincinnati, and then that starts to make you question how good this Cincinnati team is, even after the beatdown that they gave of the Ravens to come in there and then lose a very tough one too. A Jets team that is, they're hungry. They hear everybody talking about them and talking trash and talking about how they go 0-16 or 1-15 or 0-17 or 1-16. Still getting used to the 17-game season. So that's a tough loss for Cincinnati, but they're number 11. They are no longer in our top 10. Number 10 on this countdown, on this power rankings, the New Orleans Saints. I'm going to tell you what, man, if you guys have not seen the video of the Saints celebrating after defeating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the locker room, if you watch Jameis Winston dancing on the crutches, because, he is officially out for the season now, if you see my man dancing on the crutches, you would be in tears. I'm telling you what, I tried my best not to laugh, but it was some of the funniest stuff I've ever seen. But you got to love Jameis Winston, man. Like, his energy level is just different. So the New Orleans Saints, we got them at number 10. Number 9, the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens right now on the bye this week, so they not too much movement for the Ravens. The Ravens this week will be taking on the Vikings, a game that they, in my opinion, should win. But, the Vikings are a team that you never know what you're going to get from them. So we got the Ravens at number 9. At number 8, the Las Vegas Raiders. That's another one, y'all. I'm still getting used to that. The Las Vegas Raiders, 5-2, leading the AFC West. Like I said a little bit earlier, no one saw that coming. But this Raiders team at 5-2, chilling off the bat this week. They got the Giants this week, another chance to add on another victory and improve that playoff resume. So we'll see what the Vegas Raiders can do this week coming up. Number 7, the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo just beat up on poor Miami. Man, it was hard to see. And I don't think things are going to get any better this week for their next opponent in the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I fully expect the Bills to go 6-2. But after watching Cincinnati last week, anything is possible. At number 6, the best team in the AFC right now at 6-2, the Tennessee Titans. The only problem with this, Derrick Henry is gone for the season. And yes, they did sign AP, but I don't know if that's going to be enough when you lose the best running back in football, the most dangerous running back in football. He gives that offense an element that nobody else can bring. I don't care who you are in the league. Nobody else can bring that element that Derrick Henry brings to that team. So the Titans are going to have an uphill battle, but right now they got themselves in a good position as the number 1 seed in the AFC. Now we hit our top 5. With our top 5, number 5, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 6-2, coming off of a tough loss to a Saints team who just, seems to have Tampa Bay's number during the regular season. So, they're still in the top 5. They still got Thomas Brady, so nothing changes there. They're 6-2. We got them at number 5. At number 4, the Los Angeles Rams. The Los Angeles Rams are the Los Angeles Rams. They are a really good team, and they just got better this week by bringing in Von Miller, Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey. Come on, man. This is crazy. The Rams defense, it's almost like you're not going to have any excuses if you don't make it to the Super Bowl. Let's just be honest. No excuses if you don't make it to the Super Bowl. Number 3, the Arizona Cardinals. Tough one. Losing their first game of the season to the Green Bay Packers. And I didn't see this coming as a Packers fan. Did not see this one coming. I definitely picked Arizona this week or last week against Green Bay. I just thought Green Bay was beat up. No Devontae Adams, no Alan Lazard. They were banged up. Our defensive coordinator, Joe Barry, was out also because of the COVID list. I just thought it was a wash. But, man, Aaron Rodgers and the crew, it was just a drag out, smart football game. They ran the ball extremely well. A.J. Dillon had a great day. Aaron Jones had a great day. Tanya was having a good day before they lost him for the season, so that's a tough one. But, yes, Arizona looked a little bit off. Once DeAndre Hopkins went out with that hamstring, everything was just different. It was just different for Arizona. But they're in a good spot. Arizona's not, in a bad way. And they got the 49ers this week, so they got a chance to bounce back. But the 49ers always played the Arizona Cardinals tough. So watch out for this one this week. This could be a setup one for Arizona. And number 2, the Dallas Cowboys. I know my Dallas Cowboy fans are going to be excited to see this one. You're probably still saying, why ain't they number 1? Well, they're just not yet. That time will come. If it makes you happy, Stephen A. said the other day that he felt like they were the best team in the NFC. So I know that's got to make Dallas Cowboys fans say, what? But also happy at the same time. I got Dallas at number 2. They're 6-1, and still waiting to see if Dak will get the go this week. But, they've got Denver this week at home. So, Cooper Rush had a really good game on Sunday. Really good game on Sunday night in prime time. And, 325 yards, 25 for 40, a couple touchdowns in there. It was a good game for him. And that if you're a Dallas fan, if anything, okay, we got a backup quarterback. At least this gives you the hope that you got a backup quarterback that you can trust. We got the Dallas Cowboys at number 2. And this next one, I say it with pride. Number 1, the Green Bay Packers. Now, y'all know I'm not being a homer on this one. You could say I'm being a homer on this one, but when you beat the best team in the NFL, the only undefeated team in the NFL, you've won 7 straight games. They're making the case for me, so I don't have to say but so much. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to say but so much. So I'm looking at that and saying to myself, I'm very, very proud of what I saw from my team. But they've got some things they got to figure out. Losing Tunyon for the year. Adams should be back on Sunday. Also, should have Joe Barry back and Alan Lazard. All those guys should be back on Sunday as they head to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. So, number 1 team this week, Green Bay Packers. All right, y'all. That is the power rankings right there. So, we're going to do our quick review before we give you our mid-season top 5 NFL MVP, candidates, I guess you can say, or choices at the current time. But let's go back through real quick. The bottom. So the Lions 32, Texans 31, Dolphins 30, Jaguars 29, Giants 28, Jets 27, Washington football team at 26, Bears at 25, Falcons at 24, Eagles at 23, Seahawks at 22, and Vikings at 21. The outside looking in, 49ers at 20, Colts at 19, Chiefs at 18, Panthers at 17, Broncos at 16. As we enter the top 15, we've got Los Angeles Chargers at number 15, number 14, the New England Patriots, number 13, the Cleveland Browns, number 12, the Pittsburgh Steelers, number 11, the Cincinnati Bengals, number 10, the New Orleans Saints, number 9, the Baltimore Ravens, number 8, the Las Vegas Raiders, number 7, the Buffalo Bills, number 6, Tennessee Titans, number 5, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, number 4, the Los Angeles Rams, number 3, the Arizona Cardinals, number 2, the Dallas Cowboys, and I say this one with all the pride in the world, the number 1 team on my power rankings for week 9, because it may not be this way after next week, the Green Bay Packers. So there it is, our power rankings heading into week 9. Now, let's go ahead and give you our top 5 and end this bad boy properly. Our top 5 mid-season MVP list for week 9. Next, we got Aaron Rodgers coming in this week. Yes, the numbers haven't been sexy, but this team has played really well, and he's been able to balance this team, especially after them starting off with that tremendous, terrible loss against New Orleans at the beginning of the season, 38-3. Since then, the Packers have had a really good season, and they've been able to win games in all types of ways. They've used all types of functions, and I don't know that Matt LaFleur doesn't get the love he deserves because he's got Aaron Rodgers, but you got to give this man some type of nod for at least, hey, give this man an opportunity to be coach of the year. I mean, it's crazy to me that he doesn't even get thrown into that. And this year it'll probably be Cliffbury if I wouldn't, surprise. So anywho, that's just this Packer fan talking. Number 4, Dak Prescott. He didn't play this week. Injury, held him out, but Cooper Rush did his thing in the absence. But, he didn't do anything bad to lose his spot, so we'll keep him at 4. Number 3, Kyler Murray. Rough week for Kyler. He still had some bright moments in that game against the Packers, but I think he took a smidge step back in this game. Nothing too crazy. He's still in the mix. Number 2, Josh Allen. They started off rough against the Dolphins, but they finished up strong in that contest. We got him at number 2. Now, you're going to say, Darrell, how do you have Derrick Henry at number 1? He's gone for the season. But I'm doing this for one reason, and that's to pay homage to this young man and how strong and how tough and one of the best players in the league. I wanted to make sure that Derrick Henry got at least one opportunity to be number 1 on this list. And it was much deserved because we're going to find out how much of an MVP he is to this team after this week to see how Tennessee can thrive or fall apart without Derrick Henry. But he's number 1 on my list just for that because, without him, it's going to be a tough road for the Tennessee Titans. So wanted to give love Derrick Henry since he's out for the rest of the season. Maybe back for the playoffs, but it will be a stretch. All right, everybody. It's your boy, Darrell Owens. Thank you all for tuning in for another edition of One-on-One here on the Legacy Makers Sports Network, the Quick Ones editions, the NFL Power Rankings for Week 9. Sit back tonight. Enjoy the game between the Colts and the Jets. We'll see. Every Thursday night game has been great this year. Every Sunday night game has been pretty solid this year. The Monday night games have been good. All the primetime games have been really good. Knock on wood. Let's try to keep that going. There's maybe like 1 or 2 that haven't been good. So we'll see how that goes. I'm your man, Darrell Owens. This is the Legacy Maker Sports Network, and this has been another edition of One-on-One on the Legacy Maker Sports Network. We will see y'all next Thursday for our Week 10 Power Rankings. Peace.
One. Welcome to the one-on-one. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth.